Hi, Marc here with RawNutrition.com. In this juicing demonstration, I'll show the difference between using a high-speed centrifuge juicer like this Breville Model 800 and using a slow-speed masticating cold press type juicer, this VSJ843 from Omega. So I'm doing greens in this video. I've done comparisons with hard vegetables like carrots. So here I've got lots of leafy greens, celery, spinach, and some kale, and some softer fiber like cucumbers. This is really a nice green juice that's easy to drink. Also have an apple and some lemon for flavor and sweetness. So I'll explain the difference between the two. With the Omega VSJ843, this juicer turns at 43 revolutions per minute. So juice is obtained through the process of squeezing and crushing. Basically, as you push vegetables in, they are cut down with these two blades on the top while this auger is turning. Then the fibers pushed down along the side and squeezed between the screen and the auger. So all the juice will come out here, pour out the front spout, and then you have your pulp coming out on the side. So this is really a slow process, and it's really through force. There's a lot of pressure. This juicer is really tight in here. And so there'll be a lot of pressure even on the valve here underneath where the pulp comes out. There's a pulp outlet valve here, and that maintains pressure to keep the more pulp in and squeeze out the most juice. With a centrifuge juicer, most common juicer that you find, this is a more expensive one, it's a stainless steel model. And this one has a wide mouth feed chute, whereas the slow juicer just has a rather standard opening for a juicer in oval shape. So with the centrifuge juicer like this, the produce is shaved down through this blade here in the front, pretty much like a grater, and the resulting fiber is spun around the side, and through centrifugal force, this juicer turns at 10,000 revolutions per minute. The juice is extracted that way. Now, these are generally really good with harder vegetables like carrots, beets, things like that. When you get to the softer things, they don't tend to yield as much juice. So in this comparison with the greens and cucumber, we'll check the results that we get, how much juice is actually obtained. I don't really have this measured perfectly between the two. I'm not really comparing yield, more comparing juice quality and also the resulting fiber, what'll be left in the pulp and how much juice is left in that compared to how much juice actually came out. Let's go ahead and get started. I will start with the slow turning juicer first, the Omega VSJ843. So this juicer, even though there's slow turning, it is self-feeding. If your pieces are cut down ahead of time, you'll find they go in much easier. I kind of pre-cut my apple here into pieces. Things like leafy greens, you may need to push them in a bit for the auger to take them up. But you can push a lot into it like this and then use a cucumber or something else to push them in. And occasionally you can also use the pusher to get. So especially with leafy greens, you're going to find you need to use a pusher to push them in. Soft things like this lemon goes in really well. Really a cold process. Now I can open up my outlet here. I left it closed. It's really nice to use when you want to clean the juicer. You can fill it up with water and then run a little bit to rinse it out. It will help reduce your cleanup time. When I'm juicing like this, even though it's a mixed vegetables, I could add everything mixed inside, and I find it mixed just as well as it pours out. And when I'm juicing pretty much any juicer, if I've got a mixed fruits and vegetables, I like to mix them also while I'm juicing. I find it reduces the amount of foam and increases yield. The juicer seems to perform better when you're varying the different types of fiber that you're putting in. If you're doing just a lot of soft cucumber, you may find it just tends to bog down and gets kind of juicy inside. If you're mixing, the harder fiber will help push that out. And then pretty much all the hard pieces I can just drop them in the blade. You can hear the blade cutting down the produce and taking it in. So it really won't take in more than it can. When you're pushing, you really just want to apply a light pressure, let the juicer take it up. Even these are going in faster than I can actually push them in. Sometimes here's a spurt like here, just there's a lot of pressure built up. That's how it's getting out the most juice. So sometimes you will get a little bit of the fiber here coming out. The pulse will spurt out a little bit. It's already done it a couple times. Long fibers like this kale, I cut them up a little smaller. The really long fibers can kind of clog these juicers as you're juicing. Fiber goes 90 degrees out here. But if you got long kale, there's some long fibers in there, they can sometimes bundle up and create a clog. Which is why one thing, I don't cut things too small, but I do vary the fiber and produce as I'm juicing to prevent any blockage. So everything is in, everything's been taken up. And with this juicer, you can let it turn a few seconds just to finish off what's inside. You can also do a reverse and a forward to push out any remaining pulp from around the auger inside. Okay, and there you have it. Our juice, our green juice with the Omega VSJ843. Now I'll move over to the Breville Juicer, so the high-speed centrifuge juicer. The juicer, I do need to use the pusher to get everything to be taken up by the blade that's in there. And also I need to put in things rapidly and cover up, otherwise you can get spurts up in your face. It's going really fast. The apple here, I did have to cut it into thirds because it didn't quite fit. Let's see if I can rip this open here. Won't quite fit whole, so I cut it into thirds in advance. I got my cucumbers a little bit less prep time as I'm able to use whole fruits and vegetables. Okay, well I definitely couldn't talk while that juicer was going, and you can see how fast it does process. It can be a little messy, you really got to keep everything lined up, otherwise you do get spurts coming back at you just because it's turning so fast. You want to be careful, definitely not ever to put your hand inside of that juicer. So there we go, we can start to look at our yield here. Definitely, as you can see, a very different looking juice, a lot more airy and foamy at the top there. All this whole section. If I try to measure this a little hard, but I'm seeing about 550 milliliters, so pretty much the same from both juicers. And I didn't really measure too much. It was one large cucumber, and the spinach I had was about 1.5 cups of loose spinach that we had on each side, a couple leaves of kale, and then each one had a full apple. So definitely as far as yield, it looks pretty similar between the two. Definitely we're getting that separation with these. These juicers are nice in the sense that because they're crushing and squeezing, the juice tends to separate much less quickly. So go ahead and pour out a couple glasses here. See the difference between the two. Shake this one up a little bit. So you can definitely see a little lighter, probably here's a little more air being incorporated in it, lightens up the color a little bit. We'll check out the pulp, remaining pulp here. This is the pulp with our VSJ. So in something like this, light fiber, everything's pretty well crushed down. Something juicy like this cucumber, you will find still a few drips coming out. As you see, just a few drips. So the pulp is still a little bit moist, and definitely it's because of the types of vegetables I was juicing. So it should be pretty much the same with the centrifuge juicer. So you do see a lot of pulp. You'll notice the pulp is more squeezed down, but you will notice in what actually goes out, a lot more pieces are going right through. You're seeing some leaves, celery leaves, spinach, so definitely a lot more. Try to use some hand here. And as far as kind of sticky, I don't think I'll be able to squeeze. Yeah, there's pretty much some juice coming out here too. It's really hard to grab. It's very, the fiber is much more smooth because it's been shaved down, but still pretty juicy. I find more juicy than the other one. And again, lots of leaves, lots of things didn't get processed as well. Now the most important part is the flavor. Again, we're seeing the separation occurring on the Breville Juicer. The VSJ, very nice. I do this juice pretty often, it's nice and tasty. Now with the Breville Juicer, make them drink pretty quick because it's separating fast. You see the foam on top is also much more dense. This produce was refrigerator cold, basically right out of the refrigerator. It does feel a little warmer compared to this one. It's still nice and cold. Definitely cold. I should get a thermometer, very accurate thermometer, to see the difference between the two. Show you the difference. But definitely it's not as cold. And again, you're starting to really see the separation. So you'd want to be mixing your juice as you're drinking it consistently. So you're really seeing the separation. That's just the nature of the type of juice. As far as yield in this demonstration was pretty similar. Again, I didn't measure perfectly between the two, so I can't use that as a comparison if they always yield the same. Definitely there is loss just by looking at what comes out with the centrifuge juicer. Well, again, this is Marc with RawNutrition.com. Be sure to check us out online and subscribe to our video here on YouTube for more product demonstrations.